The Chargers have reached the point where one seemingly small decision could leave a massive hole in this roster. Final cuts are squeezing veterans, rookies, and even position groups that looked settled, while Mike McDaniel watches every last spot turn into a dead heat. Bolt fam, get ready. Today we are stepping inside that decision room, confronting a farewell that feels closer by the hour, measuring the return of a vital piece for Herbert, judging a quarterback battle with no winner, and revealing who turned one single play into a legitimate roster push. If you track every move Los Angeles makes, subscribe right now. Scott Matlock is fighting for more than a roster spot. He is trying to survive a reshuffling that has stripped away nearly every reason, one by one, for keeping him on the 53rd. That hits hard because this is a player who agreed to do everything Jim Harbaugh asked. Matlock arrived as a defensive piece, moved to fullback, absorbed punishment, developed as a blocker, and agreed to start over as a wide tight end when Alec Ingold was signed for his old job. That willingness deserves respect. Respect cannot manufacture an open seat. His path was already narrow before he stopped practicing after the preseason game against the 49ers. Now, after losing almost a full week while learning a new position, that margin has nearly vanished. The tight end room already has Charlie Kolar, David Njoku, and Jerand Gadsden II. Keeping Matlock as the fourth name would take a spot from a more urgent fight: the 10th offensive lineman, the 6th wide receiver, another inside linebacker, or a 5th pass rusher. But Bolt fam, here is where the story gets interesting. The staff is not simply deciding which player it likes more. It is calculating who can solve a problem that could realistically show up on Sunday. Uiagalelei Tucker is pushing Kyle Kennard and Bud Dupree on the edge. Key Andre Lambert-Smith is fighting for receiver depth. Marlowe Wax offers another option on the second level. Offensive line protection also became more valuable after Tyler Biadasz went down. Against those needs, carrying a fourth tight end who is still learning the position becomes extremely difficult to defend. None of this erases Matlock's value or turns his Chargers run into a failure. The versatility that may not be enough for the active roster could make him a useful practice squad player. If Ingold or one of the tight ends gets hurt during the season, Los Angeles would have someone who knows the system and can provide emergency snaps in multiple roles. That is honest insurance, assuming Matlock clears the process and wants to stay. But a relentless Chargers defender also has to say the uncomfortable part out loud. Keeping someone because of his history of sacrifice instead of the team's current need would mean managing this roster while looking backward. Harbaugh can admire everything Matlock has given and still decide Tucker, Lambert-Smith, Wax, or an offensive lineman provides more immediate value. Missing practice did not create this threat. It accelerated a decision the shape of this roster was already pushing forward. Matlock's final argument would be an immediate return, followed by such a complete performance that the staff has to redraw the bottom of the roster. Without that, this chapter feels close to ending. Harsh? Absolutely. Unfair? Not necessarily. When the edges of a roster get this tight, as McDaniel acknowledged, good players lose their seats. The cruelty of this cut also reveals a strength. Los Angeles finally has choices painful enough to prove its depth is real. While Matlock watches one door closing, Joe Alt has stepped through another that looks built for him. The tackle could not hide how much fun he is having in Mike McDaniel's new offense. Fire off the line, use his athleticism, reach the second level, block on the move. That is not empty August chatter. It is the exact reason this system could unlock an even more dominant version of Alt. Very few offensive linemen combine his height, reach, and agility. In a wide zone scheme, those traits stop being bonuses and become core weapons. Alt can reach defenders in space, seal angles, and force linebackers to commit before the play reveals its destination. When that works, the running game stretches the field, and Herbert gets a defense pulled out of shape, more vulnerable to play action and throws into open areas. The emotional part matters too. Alt played only 6 games in his second season because of a serious ankle injury that required surgery and ended his year. Against the 49ers, he finally got the entire ritual back. The warm-up, the huddle, the play call, that first snap. Healthy again and fully participating, he does not sound like someone who simply returned to work. He sounds like a player who recovered a piece of himself. Then comes the leadership layer. Tyler Biadasz suffered a torn ACL that ended his season, pushing rookie Jake Slaughter into the starting center job. Alt understands the isolation and grind of a major rehab because the experience is still fresh. That is why he made himself available for anything Biadasz needs. At the same time, Alt praised Slaughter for asking questions and keeping communication sharp between the center and the tackles. That combination is the most encouraging signal. Alt is not returning only to win his individual matchup. He is helping stabilize a group hit hard inside, learning an offense that rewards his movement, and accepting responsibility for the players beside him. Losing Biadasz remains a severe blow. Excitement cannot change that. But if Slaughter responds and Alt expands the reach of this scheme, Los Angeles could turn a patched-together line into an aggressive, fast unit capable of dictating where the game is played. On Thursday against the Rams, the preseason will end with one question nobody managed to settle in practice. Who deserves to stand one play away from Justin Herbert? Trey Lance and DJOOEEAHNGUHLUHLAY enter the matchup still locked in a competition Harbaugh called tight. The starters should get only a handful of snaps. After that, the field belongs to these two candidates, and every hesitation will feel as large as the decision itself. Lance received the first opportunities behind Herbert and completed 22 of 36 passes for 223 yards, no passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Those numbers capture the problem. He produced enough to stay in front, but not enough to shut down the debate. For a former first-round pick, the final test is not asking for reputation. It is demanding control, quick processing, and a full sequence that proves the offense will not lose all direction if Herbert has to leave the field. Uiagalelei carries a different kind of pressure. After spending last season on the practice squad, he is trying to pass Lance without receiving the same position in the rotation. That turns every possession into an audit. Pocket management, accuracy, ball security, command of the huddle. One spectacular play would help. A clean, controlled drive might tell the coaching staff even more. Lance has the advantage of receiving priority. DJ may have the freedom of playing without the weight of old expectations. Now both face the same demand. Keep this offense breathing when the original plan is forced off script. The winner does not need to look like Herbert. He needs to convince McDaniel and Harbaugh that he can keep the operation alive. Against the Rams, this battle finally stops being an abstract comparison. One quarterback has the chance to seize the job. The other may discover that staying even for too long can still force a final choice. The final roster push was born from a play nobody should dismiss as an accident. Jerand Bradley, a wide receiver converted to tight end, has caught only one pass this preseason. He turned it into a 28-yard touchdown from DJ Uiagalelei, showing awareness in space and the ability to create after the catch. One play does not guarantee a roster spot, but when a player receives so little and creates that much, the staff owes him another serious look. Bradley has shown receiving talent since a huge freshman season in college. The issue never appeared to be a lack of ability. It was a lack of opportunity, followed by the challenge of learning a more demanding role. A tight end cannot live on routes and explosiveness alone. To justify a fourth spot, Bradley needs to show he can block, understand multiple alignments, contribute on special teams, and avoid tipping the play call whenever he enters the game. That is precisely why the Rams matchup means more for him than repeating the touchdown. I want to see whether McDaniel creates new opportunities and whether Bradley responds on the less glamorous assignments. A short catch through contact, a block that springs the running game, or clean execution through a formation shift could strengthen his case as much as another long play. This roster is not searching only for a highlight clip. It needs a tool that can survive the season. There is also a brutal contrast with Matlock. Both can be connected to the fourth tight end spot, but they are arriving from opposite directions. Matlock offers experience, strength, and proven versatility, but he has missed critical practices and faces a crowded room. Bradley offers youth, upside as a target, and one explosive flash, but he must prove that changing positions has not left him limited. If Los Angeles carries 4, the choice should reflect what this offense intends to create, not simply who has played more positions on paper. Open the war room in the comments. Would you give Bradley that fourth spot after increasing his opportunities against the Rams, keep Matlock for the security of multiple roles, or use the roster spot elsewhere? Give me your choice and the reason. This debate captures the entire cut down. At the bottom of the roster, potential gains value only when it solves a real need. Bradley has forced the staff to notice his name. Now he must turn attention into trust before the clock runs out. Final cuts will not reward a resume, sympathy, or one isolated play. They will reveal what kind of Chargers team Mike McDaniel and Jim Harbaugh want to carry into September. Matlock is fighting the math. Alt is back to expand the offense and support Slaughter. Lance and DJ Uiagalelei enter one final tiebreaker. Bradley is demanding a bigger opportunity. Different stories, one standard. Production right now. Bolt fam, I need your opinion on this one. If you could protect only one of these bets, would you choose proven versatility or explosive potential? Comment. Subscribe to Los Angeles Chargers News today and come back tomorrow for the verdict.